Hello and welcome to Creative Control, the entertainment podcast. I'm your host, Kenan, and thank you for joining us on our new episode. Joining me today from the Creative Control team, we have, it's a stacked house today. We have Neil, Sacha, Alex, and Lee. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Doing good. The five of us, we can form Voltron.
Good, man.
Yeah. That's it. Well, I think one of the reasons, availability's opened up, obviously, but also I think it depends on the topic that we're doing. And today we're going retro again. And, we're passionate about our older films. And so we are here to talk about the top 10 movies of 1984. All right. So that is our show today. And if you haven't already, we've basically decided to do this because we know that a lot of movies don't get a lot of love from the 80s and 90s because they tend to do top 10s of the decade rather than individual years. So we've gone back and we started with 1980 and we've done A1, A2, A3 and brings us to 84 today. So if you haven't, make sure you check out those episodes and have a look at our lists. And the way we kind of do it is we go through our individual lists, but actually we create a cumulative top 10 list between all of us who are on the show. And so as there's 5 of us today, we're all going to get 2 picks to put forward for this top 10. So there might be debates and, because we can lock in 2, which will give us our 10. But if we want to fight for anything and we may overvote somebody for other position, so there may be a battle yet. And also Andreas and Amrita from the show, they've sent me a list through as well. So we will discuss those because they don't get a spot because they're not on the show, but they may bring out some movies which get us questioning our choices. So that's it. But before we start going into our list, again, thank you very much for being here. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like, share it on any social media platform you can. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're listening to the audio, again, you can check it out on any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, Good Pods. We are everywhere. So, but again, thank you very much for joining us. Right, gentlemen, where do we start? Who am I going to give a first round draft pick to?
Me.
Give it to Neil.
Because
otherwise I think Neil's going to be on our case. So I think I need to give Neil one just so I can put him out of his misery.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is your number 1 draft pick then, Neil, for our top 10 movies of 1984?
I mean, for you lot, it's not going to be a surprise. I think for people listening, it's going to be a little shocker. This movie was being filmed the day I was born. July 24th, 1984, the day I came into this world, this movie was being made.
And it was horror.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
There is no way in hell this list was getting made without that film in it.
I acknowledge that. I do, because it was on my top 10 list as well. Definitely. And obviously I didn't watch it in 84. I discovered it much later on VHS because I would have already been 3. But it's a horror classic. It's one of the staples. If you had a Mount Rushmore, Freddy Krueger's gonna be on that Mount Rushmore of horror movie characters, right? So absolutely, bloods, guts, spills. It kind of had it all, and like I said, definitely on my list. So for those listening, you might be surprised. Nightmare on Elm Street, like number 1 pick, is because we want to make sure our favorite movies get picked for this top 10 because it's a combined one. So absolutely, Neil. So tell us, Neil, why Nightmare on Elm Street for you?
I would say before A Nightmare on Elm Street, the greatest horror movie character or the greatest horror character would probably have been Dracula. It's the quintessential level of fear, and that went on from when Bram Stoker put pen to paper, and that lasted until late 1984 when Wes Craven decided that the horror genre needed a little bit of a shake-up. The first of many times he decided that. And he took the one space that was sacred to people, and he said, it's not so sacred no more. Because your dreams, it was like, he said it in multiple interviews. He said, in horror movies, as long as you had a good pair of shoes on and you had a good enough distance, you could get away from whatever was chasing you, you'd be fine. And then he said, well, what if you couldn't get away? And he's like, well, in your dreams, you're stuck there because you're in your own subconscious. And he created Freddy Krueger. And I think people don't grasp the science behind Freddy Krueger. That red and green sweater that he wears, that we're all just synonymous with, the two colors that the human eye has the most issues with is green and red stripes. I think the Pied Piper had green and red going down. And it's just like, yeah, he's there. The guy you can't get away from. He's in your dreams. So, yeah, there was no way I was going to allow this list to compile without Sir Freddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, that was on my list. Alex, Sacha, Lee, did you have Nightmare on Elm Street on your top 10s?
Honorable
Never
mentions,
seen it.
only because I'm not a horror guy. So,
Which one of you said you ain't never seen it?
Wow.
Remember, what did I say? What did I say a few years ago? I don't watch a lot of horror movies. That's why I did the Halloween series. That
I know you don't watch a lot of horror, but damn.
Yeah, never. I have seen the remake though.
Okay, that was pretty good from what I remember, wasn't it? It wasn't. That was the guy with. Was that the guy from Watchmen?
Jackie O'Haley, yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's the only Nightmare on Elm Street thing I've ever seen. So
wow,
I'm not really.
You know what? Whilst I accept and I do understand, because you have said to me before that you're not a horror guy, you didn't watch a lot of horror films. When you said you've watched the remake, as much as I don't think the remake is bad, I feel like you just said to me, "Yeah, I've only watched like the 2016 Ghostbusters." That's how I feel. Wow. That's how it feels, right?
I don't. You know what? I don't. Here's the thing, though. I don't really remember much from this film. You know what I mean? So I remember the rest of the day pretty vividly, but I don't remember really watching the film.
Right. Well, I mean, that film still. I mean, I haven't watched that film a load of times, maybe 5 times over my lifetime. But it's vivid. You know, certain scenes which are just amazing, and a really great series. If I'm sure you guys have watched it, but for any of our watchers and listeners out there, How It Was Made on Netflix. They do it on a movie series, and they have one for Friday the 13th, I believe, and they have one for Halloween and stuff like that. It's such a fantastic series. It takes you behind the scenes. It talks to like the producers, the creators, and all that kind of stuff. It's not really interviewing the stars of it. It's everything behind it, and really great series. And they definitely go into the depth on that one. But yeah, I think even if you're not a horror fan, I think you need to watch Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, and probably the first Friday the 13th. They're going to be your staples that you kind of need to digest. But okay, Lee, was it on your list?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. So Neil, just a curiosity, have you got a ranking of your top 10?
I mean, technically.
Okay. Where did it sit in your overall top 10?
Number 1.
Oh, number 1 still. All right.
It was that, cool. And then everything else is just so it's number 1, Nightmare on Elm Street, and then from 2 down, it's just bullet points and it's just titles.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fine.
Everything else is you could be in there or not.
Everything else is a bonus. Yeah. Okay. All right. Alex, we're going to come over to you next. Right. What is your nomination for your first film?
Okay. I'm sure it's going to be on most people's lists, but again, I'm not as adamant as Neil that certain things get in, so I'm going to go with the original, The Terminator, number 1.
The Terminator. Yes.
As an Arnie fan. How could it not be on my list?
Yeah. Oh no, straight up. And it's I think while Sacha rearranges his bedroom, I'll the Terminator, is Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, fantastic movies, but they're very different movies, aren't they? So like the first one is much more of like a horror type movie, where the second one is a little bit more your action sci-fi type of movie. But what connected you with the Terminator? Why the Terminator?
It was just, I don't know, the first time I saw it, it's just, again, I'm a big science fiction guy, so yes, although it's got that horror element of that sort of, unstoppable force, whether that's, Mike Myers or whatever, it's obviously in this case the Terminator. I just love the whole time travel thing. I'm a sucker for time travel films, even when they don't make sense. You try and, scramble your brains trying to work out, paradoxes and this, that, and the other. As I say, I grew up on Arnie in the 80s. So anything with Arnie always, you know, is a spot for me. But yeah, just the story is just excellent. And when you hear, you know, the concept of it, where, or the inception of it, I should say, when, you know, James Cameron was like, you know, fever dream or whatever, and just had this image of the endoskeleton coming out of the fire, and that's where they built the story back from that. It's just like, yeah, and again, Stan Winston's creation, man, it's just like, you know, if I could have a life-size replica of the, you know, endoskeleton, I would.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, Alex.
Sasha showing off is that a steelbook, Sasha? Yeah, good shout. Okay, so I presume that the Terminator is on everybody's list.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yo, Neil. Okay, Neil, that's cool.
That is cool. It's very
That
cool.
is cool. That is one. There is one story bit that I'm not sure if I can't remember now because there's been so many trash Terminator movies since it. But you know, obviously the second movie was about getting the arm and throwing it in, but then they didn't throw away the arm that was left stuck in the gears, which he snapped off. You know, but I don't think that was ever referenced again.
No, it wasn't.
I think
technically in the first one, when he blows up, you see his legs like fly all over the place before he like crawls out.
Yeah,
it's just a torso. His legs are technically laying all over the stairs along with Carl Reese. So it's like,
good point.
Give it a few more episodes, and that arm will be behind Kenan.
Yeah. That's a good space. Just here. That'll do nicely. Yeah. Okay, cool. Anybody else want to shout anything else about the Terminator?
It could have been O.J. Simpson.
Oh,
it could have been.
It could have been O.J. Simpson.
That's right.
Well,
right.
He's not much of a killer, though. Apparently.
Yeah. I was Schwarzenegger's gone about this a few times because he sat with Cameron and he kept talking about this Terminator so much and how he said, you know, he has to be limited movement. He has to be able to handle a gun. He can't blink when you shoot a gun. You know, he has to be able to reload a gun without looking at it and all this kind of stuff. And Cameron's just like, well, why don't you play him? Yeah, so it was just very
actually
much
that's kind of how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
What it was Arnold was supposed to play Reese.
That's it. Yeah,
he was supposed to play Reese, and James Cameron was like, well, I've seen Conan. He doesn't look like a smart guy. He's a bodybuilder type of guy. So if I insult him at the dinner, maybe I'd, you know what I mean? Maybe maybe I could turn back to my agent in the studio and say, look, we clearly can't work together. So that was his plan during the meeting. But before he could open his mouth, Schwarzenegger just was like, hey, look, I love the script. It's sci-fi. Started quoting other sci-fi novels and stuff because Schwarzenegger's a sci-fi buff himself. And he's a smart guy. So he was just started going on about, they started talking science fiction films they liked and stuff. And it turned out he had a lot in common with Schwarzenegger. But the killer was when Schwarzenegger says, I don't want to play the hero. I want to play the Terminator, you know, because Lance Hendrickson was supposed to be the Terminator.
Originally supposed to be the Terminator.
Spoiled metal teeth.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so that's two on our list. Sacha, we'll come over to you. What is your number one pick for this top 10 list?
I own a proton pack that actually works, lights up and everything. I've not used this. I bought this before lockdown and it's here. And there's been not an occasion to go out full Ghostbusters.
I stopped having Halloween parties. That's why.
Some schmo stop doing the greatest Halloween parties ever on earth. Man. So
one that I never got invited to.
Ecto 1 with the boys in there. So I've been building this collection. By the way, I have a spare Winston. He needs a home.
Oh, poor Winston.
Spare Winston.
Right, so Ghostbusters is your pick, Sash.
My number
is that your number one as well for the whole top 10?
Without a shadow of a doubt, is Ghostbusters. Okay, there's no questions asked on that. The only time where I was like, is because my number two, which is to be expected, would have been like, oh my god, because Indiana Jones is one of my favorite characters of all time. But it's Temple of Doom. I love Temple of Doom. But it's no Raiders. It's no Last Crusade. You know what I mean? But what's better? For me, is Temple really better than Ghostbusters?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a no contest, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I like Ghostbusters so much that I gave fucking 2016 a shot. When people were saying, "No, this is waste," I was bigging up the trailer because I didn't think the trailers were that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched it with Ken, and then I was like, and bear in mind, yeah, I lasted a lot longer than Ken did in that movie. Okay, I was like, when I drove the car off the cliff with that movie, the minute they caught their first ghost in the rock concert,
Oh yeah,
that's when I was like, yeah, nah, I'm done. Like, I'm done.
Ken, when were you out?
I think it might have been even when Chris Hemsworth came on. I just didn't like his character at all. But I think what I was confused about is because the trailer kind of sold you it as almost like a sequel, but not.
Yeah.
Because the trailers are really confusing. Because like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, they saved the city, and now this one's here. So you kind of went in thinking, okay, it's going to be the same one. And then they started doing all the cameos of the old Ghostbusters in weird roles, and yeah, there's just, I mean, I've wiped that from my mind. That's probably my review of Ghostbusters 2016 is probably one of my highest viewed videos on YouTube, just because of how much I went into it. But yeah, that movie was a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah, man. But Ghostbusters, man, without a doubt, my number one pick, hands down.
Yeah.
I'd be very shocked for it not to be a lot of other people's number one pick, but that is my number one pick.
It's my number one pick as well, for sure. And just having a look, it's number one on Amrita's, for sure. And I'm just gonna have a look at Andreas.
Yeah, Andreas
it's definitely number one.
It's definitely number one for Andreas. Yeah, exactly.
I'll be honest with you guys. Like, June 2 was my most hyped movie of the year. Okay. And then I saw the trailer to the new Ghostbusters film. I'm sorry, man. I don't care what you say, Andreas. Nostalgia berries. I'm all in for it. Melnets and uniform. I'm in for it. All right. The only way it can get better is if Rick Moranis rocks in there. Okay.
Oh, can you imagine?
The only way. All right. I will applaud like a motherfucker. Give it all to me, man. I'm in. That trailer was
Sasha's taking those member berries. He's putting them in a blender, blending it, putting some hot water on and drinking the tea, man. He's he's all for this.
I'm all for this shit, man. Seriously. I was like, seriously, that trailer I've seen like 16, 17, 18 times, man. Seriously.
Wow, okay. All right.
We need to get Sacha and Andreas in a room.
Yeah,
together.
Yeah, we should get him to do a watch session and get him to comment on it throughout the movie. That'd be brilliant. To be fair, I think Andreas loved it, apart from the ending where the other guys return. I think he feels that was very much a throwaway, but you know, I'm sitting in the cinema crying, so I didn't have an issue with it. So, you know.
Yeah, I was like, seriously, that guaranteed bawling like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But it's tears of joy, man. It's like, my God, man, they got me. They got that old team back.
Yeah,
and it's like so good, man. So good. Seriously.
I think I held it together until you see Rick Moranis' ghost appear, helping her hold the proton gun. I think it is.
Yeah, Harold Ramis.
Or he's doing his own one and stuff like that. Then I lost it. I lost my shit. So okay, all right. So Ghostbusters, that makes a list. Yeah, it's on everyone's list. A fantastic movie, and yeah, I need to bring that back into the intro for the clips. We need some Ghostbusters in there. Right, Lee, coming on to you. What is your pick for the top 10 list? What's your first draft?
I have an idea.
Good man. That was going to be my first pick, but
Karate Kid for me.
So why the Karate Kid?
Yeah, just got to be. Oh, why not the Karate Kid? It's just
Cobra Kai never dies.
Yeah, watched it religiously when it came out. Loved it. I think because I know we wasn't that age, but it's just, yeah, we were kids in the playground, you know. Yeah, bullies about, and yeah, what he did.
We all wanted to be so Daniel, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, so obviously I was at home. Oh, Dad, can I clean the car? Waxing on, waxing off, like, you know. putting all the skills there, but no, it still didn't quite work for me. He done a lot better job, but yeah, no, it's brilliant.
I spent ages trying to catch flies with chopsticks. I got to say, I spent ages. They actually released a toy with that, which was a pair of plastic chopsticks and with like a rubber fly on a string. We had to catch. Yeah, I had that. Yeah, but yeah, Karate Kid.
It was a brilliant underdog story. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of you could stick up to people, I guess. Like yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, I suppose everyone could sort of relate to it our age. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
and an amazing montage as well, right? Montage and the music of that movie and stuff like that was just incredible. And
the bike is BMX. I mean, I was always going around on my bike, so yeah, no, I could totally relate to this.
Yeah, I think Karate Kid was number 3 on my list. So yes, that was number 3. Anybody else have Karate Kid on the list? I'm sure. Did everyone have it?
Oh yeah, of course, man.
Yep.
That was my number 8. That was my number 8, though.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it was. Not that it was a bad movie or anything, because it made the top 10. There's just a lot of films out this year that are like bangers, man.
And 84 was a peak year. It was a peak year, absolutely.
100% peak year.
What are you guys thinking about the new Karate Kid that's going to be coming out? So obviously they've just announced the new casting of the new Karate Kid. It's going to have it's going to have
Wong.
Ben Wong. Yeah, that's it. That he's been cast. And obviously you're going to have Jackie Chan's.
Sorry, Ben Wang.
Wang. So we have Jackie Chan in it. We're going to have Daniel Sun in it. Do we expect a Jackie Chan appearance in the new season of Cobra Kai, like at the end, like a teaser or something to build onto that movie?
I've always said, man, link the universes from day one, man. I know, like some hardcore heads would be like, oh, but he's doing wushu and blah blah blah. Fuck that shit, man. Like fucking link it all, man. I'm all in. I'm all in. Okay, I'm all in.
Neil doesn't seem convinced.
I'll be honest, right? I feel like, you know how like there's that saying where they're like, oh, the redheaded stepchild, right? that I can't remember what year it came out, but that Not So Karate Kid movie isn't the redheaded. It's not the redheaded stepchild. It's Hugo. You know, you've got Bart Simpson and then you got Hugo.
Oh wow.
It's Hugo.
I understand that reference.
You need to lock that motherfucker in the attic with and feed him fish heads, right? And pretend he doesn't exist, right?
Wow.
Because I'm sorry, like there was so much like I'm one of those guys, Sash, where there was like he's not doing karate.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. He
you know
clearly isn't.
That movie is the most culturally insensitive movie there is. Right? The film, the title is The Karate Kid. Karate is a martial arts form from Japan. The movie is set in Hong Kong or China, sorry, right? It's called The Karate Kid, and nobody in the movie does karate. Right?
Karate isn't even referenced as a term, is it? I don't think so.
Right? If you think about it, the title is The Karate Kid, and there's nobody even says the word karate in the movie.
Yeah,
no, that's fair. That's fair. I totally agree. Should have had a different title.
And on top of that, I think people forget 1984. You could get to like tournament level martial arts abilities in a few months, right? 1984, Southern California. You could do that. It's not impossible. It's not likely you'll win, but you could get to the point where you could get into a tournament and get beyond the first couple rounds.
Yeah. 2010 Hong Kong.
2010 Hong Kong. Listen, I wouldn't fight that kid that he fights. I wouldn't fight him, right? Just end up with bruises like I was in Fist of the North Star or something. No, right? And you're telling me that braided up Jaden Smith was just gonna go there and just
business,
sit down. Right?
Makes a valid point, my friend. Some very valid points. All right.
He upped the game though. He upped the game. He did jacket on, jacket off. You know, so
Yeah.
when you're going to that level,
you know what? Let's talk about this, right? When you were watching the original Karate Kid, when Mr. Miyagi was like, "All right, I've had enough of your whining. Show me Pate the Fence," right? And then he was like, he tried to hit him, and you saw how fast it was. He was like, everyone was shocked. Daniel was shocked. I was shocked. Everybody watching it was shocked. Because they were like, "Oh shit!"
Daniel wasn't even in the same damn movie. He was just like, "What the hell, man?"
Then, right? I was painting the fence. Then it was, wax on, wax off, and you was like, "Yo, this is kind of making sense." 2010, pick up the jacket. I wish he would have. I'd have kicked him in his backside the second he bent over to get that jacket.
Right, let's move on. So it's my pick. I'm going to go for Beverly Hills Cop. Had to be in it. Classic Eddie Murphy. It's it was a real shining moment for him, and obviously the way it developed into this franchise. And a second one, third one wasn't as well received. Obviously, we've got the new one coming out in this July. Beverly Hills Axel F. But yeah, it has some great comedy in it. Has some great action. John Reinhold. Yeah, exactly. Bananas in tailpipes. Had the now didn't really notice it at the time, but had like the worst stunt cutting ever, where you have where he's in I think it's the hotel, and he goes to meet this guy at the lunch, and Eddie Murphy sort of like punches him. The guy goes over the table. Herman Trout, I think it is from Better Call Saul, and you see the Eddie Murphy stunt double there, and it's just like it looks nothing like it. It's just crazy the way that was cut, but mostly it stands up, and it's a film that I've revisited again. A lot of my top 10s come down to rewatchability. How many times I revisit those? You'll have some really artistic movies. You'll have some really great looking movies, amazing performances. Most of the films we're going to be talking about today aren't going to be in those Oscar conversations, but is what it makes us feel, makes us what it does for us, and how often we've revisited those. So yeah, for me, Beverly Hills Cop had to be there. Anybody else got some comments on Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, that was my number 3. That was my number 3. I must say, Beverly Hills Cop, all 3 of them, including number 3, I don't give a shit. All right.
I never heard issue 3. I love 3.
Like I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's not the best one, especially after 2, which was Tony Scott goodness, I might add. But number 1, oh my god, man, these films, like high school, me, my good friend Delan Sitow, and Andrew Speakmaster just used to rinse these films all the time. Every art class, man, just quoting Surge and his lemon twists, and just falling out laughing over stupidness because we're immature kids, innit? And like just Eddie Murphy in general. This is the quintessential Eddie Murphy movie of all time, in my opinion. Like Axel Foley. Do you know how many times I've seen that trailer? There's another trailer I watched bare times. I saw that trailer like 200 times. The Cop 4 trailer. That was a good fucking trailer. I don't care what anyone says. No, including that look, Neil. I saw that.
No. I'm not disagreeing with anything you said.
I'm there for that.
I just have a question.
My only take home is Cop 4 is not a cinema release. Fuck you, Netflix. You robbed me of that.
I have a question. The Karate Kid, the movie that's coming out, the new one, right?
Oh yeah.
Is that coming out this year?
Nah, probably next year, maybe. Because they would start shooting this year.
They just announced casting. Surely that's.
I think it's actually due out like the end of this year.
What? Really?
Well, yeah, because the film only takes like 4 to 6 months to film.
In December, then it's
Yeah.
Because I just had a
they
realization.
might want to release it near to.
It's set for 13th of December, 2024.
All right, so it's set to come out in December. Right, okay. Well, then I'm going to bring up a point. Not right now, but soon.
Okay.
Neil just leaving the teaser there. Right, okay, fine. Yeah, because obviously they're right in the middle of filming the last season of Cobra Kai.
Which
So
would make
that'll
sense
wrap.
to just continue
Yeah.
straight after it.
That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, because obviously that you would have thought would be released later this year, maybe September time, and then maybe lead straight into the movie. So we'll see. Okay, so we're going back around. So we've got our 5 films at the moment. We've got A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Ghostbusters, The Terminator, Karate Kid, and Beverly Hills Cop. Neil, we're coming back to you for your second pick.
Right. Now this is where it gets a bit shaky. This is why I didn't want so many people on. Because there is the film that I should pick, but I have a feeling that at least 2 of the 4 of you have it in your list. So I'm like, I can leave it. You'll do it for me. You'll bring it in for me.
Oh crap! We can only pick 2 films.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Yo, loud Ghostbusters, yo.
So now
how can you allow it? It's your number 1 pick.
It is my number 1 pick, but there are more movies that need more love, man.
All right, we'll come to it. We'll come to it. This is the drama of the top 10.
Yeah.
Go on, Neil.
I'm going to take a risk and not mention this movie that I'm hoping one of you does. I'm going to mention something else. So my second pick is Firestarter.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Right. Okay. I didn't expect that. So Neil, why Firestarter?
It was on my honorable mentions. Yeah, for sure.
So
it was also in my, you know what? It was also in my honorable mentions as well because I knew Neil would have got it.
Yeah. Because I was like, yeah, I had to do it. I had to do it, right? Because this film, Firestarter, I think, and I say this with full knowledge that last year, I believe it was, they made a remake and brought it out, and it had Zac Efron in it. I believe that Firestarter is arguably Stephen King's most underrated work.
In terms of the book or the movies?
In terms of the story, because the film, especially this 1984 film, absolutely, like, obviously it follows the book as well as it can, which means that the story is that good. And it was the business. Like, most people remember childhood Drew Barrymore from E.T. I remember her from Firestarter.
Right. Yes, I've never actually seen it.
Oh man, and to think the best way I could frame it. So this movie was supposed to be directed by John Carpenter.
Right. Okay.
And I cannot remember the reason. I think it was the rights to the movie, or like the people in charge of production were basically just like, nah, I ain't got time to wait. And I think he just wound up having to do another film. And even though he didn't do it, he put in the work. And they basically were like, you know what? We're still going to make the movie as if he directed it.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I'm pretty sure he is. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah. So what they did was Tangerine Dream, a musical act. They did the soundtrack. They did the score and all of that for this movie. And they basically were just like, what would John Carpenter do?
Right. Okay.
So basically, because Christine, I think Christine comes out, I think it came out a year later. And that is a Stephen King story directed by John Carpenter. And they basically were like, look, we're just basically going to emulate John Carpenter. The story is amazing. This is not a movie that had money thrown at it. I mean, I say that, but neither was Terminator, and wow. But this movie was not a movie that had money thrown at it. The biggest star that they had in the movie was Drew Barrymore, and she's a child. But it just, this movie just resonated with me. This is like,
it has Heather Locklear and Martin Sheen. So
yep,
had a couple of names.
I mean, yeah, but that's it. Like, I forgot. But Martin Sheen is basically a cameo. Like, no spoilers. I mean, for a movie that's literally 40 years old. Yeah. But he's in the third act. That's about it. He basically is a glorified cameo.
Okay.
It also
Right, but this
inspired
movie
the Prodigy song.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Twisted Firestarter. Okay, so Firestarter makes a list.
Yes, it does.
All right. So, Alex, moving on to you. What is your second pick?
Don't let me down, Alex.
See, I don't know if I want to go something.
Don't let Neil bully you.
Yeah.
Let me bully
Yeah.
you. Pick the right film.
I tell you what, no, I'm not going to go for what I was initially going for because I think probably someone else might have that on there. And it's been
Ken, man, why are you making us play Sophie's Choice with these films, man?
I'm going to go
Entertainment. It makes me laugh.
Well, hold on. Say that again.
I'm going to go Gremlins.
My man. Yeah.
As a guy that's not a horror guy, I'm going to go Gremlins.
All right.
look,
Okay.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie. Damn straight.
So why Gremlins, Alex?
Again, man, come on. As a kid, it's just like, okay, you've got this cute little mugwai thing. It's like, oh, yeah, it's all cute. And then again, as a young
Then it's not
boy,
so
it's
cute.
like, oh no, it's not so cute because they're little monsters, man.
Yeah.
And there's some brutal, like obviously it's kills of the gremlins, so it's not like human violence, but you know, they're getting torn up in blenders and microwaves and all that kind of stuff. It was just, come on, man. I still to this day I would love to have like a life size of Stripe with his little
Stripe,
robot.
yeah.
Me too.
And I've seen some about. I'm like, I would love to, but I haven't to this day. But yeah, that'd be great to have one. It's just, you know.
So
again,
I take
Gremlins.
Next to the T800.
Yeah, exactly. You could sit down and watch it at Christmas. It's it's a horror film you can throw on at any time. It's not that horrific that you couldn't watch it as a youngster. It's fun for the whole family.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously it's in Neil's top 10. Was it anybody else's? It was definitely in mine.
Yeah, it was in my honorable mentions.
Right. Okay.
It would have been in my top 10, but there were so many other films.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was the first one to move to honorable mentions. So,
right. Okay. All right.
Can I just throw in a couple of tidbits about Gremlins? Right.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Spielberg cameos in this movie. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. A working time machine cameos in this movie. And greatest of all time, can we have a moment of respect put on the mum's name, the name I don't know, right? Right? Because she killed, I think it's 3 gremlins by herself.
At least 2, yeah, for sure.
She wiped out 3.
Was it Phoebe
and
Cates?
Would have been the 4th one. She kills 3, and Stripe would have been the 4th one, right? She stabs 1 to death. She kills 1 in the blender, and she kills 1 in the microwave. Right? And it's only with Stripe, or it's only with the 4th one hiding in the tree, in the Christmas tree, that he's able to get her. She took out more people than Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble. She went business end first.
Right. So I think that was was it Frances Lee McCain?
Yeah.
I think that's her, because I said Phoebe Cates, but she was obviously the young girl alongside Zach Galligan. But okay. So I might know. But yeah, no, she did the business. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, it's just one of those movies that it captures the imagination, when you're younger, and you just think, it puts one of those movies, you put yourself in that position. What would you do? How would you handle it? And yeah, it's one of those
like Mama Pelter.
I would have given it just yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and give Sacha a bit of a reprieve, because he always forgets how many he can nominate for these things. So I'm going to come to Lee first, and then I'm going to come back to Sacha, because it might give Sacha a little bit more of a breath before I give my final pick.
So look at that list, strong boy.
I was hoping I was hoping I was going to go last, because then it will knock one off my list.
So I'm putting the pressure on Lee now.
That's so tough, man. I'm going to have to go for indie.
Phew. Thank
Relief
God.
all round. Relief all round.
Thank God.
I was just about to say, there's a chance this movie won't make the top 10 list.
Thank God.
Yeah, I can't. It's got to be indie, man.
If there was any movie,
it was very close. It was very close.
I was like, wow, have I got to really sacrifice this for indie? Is no one going to say indie? What the fuck?
Lee,
I got to say, I got to be
right?
honest. Thank you, Lee, for taking the bullet. Okay.
Lee, you had me watching Sash like I was watching a penalty in the World Cup final. I was watching it, just waiting, and it was like, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it? He said, "Indie." I've never seen Relief watch it.
Sasha was like that key. Sasha was like that Key and Peele skit, you know, where he's like sweating.
He's sweating.
Just dripping down.
I think he would have sacrificed it. I think he would have sacrificed indie. I think he would have.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I know the
you know
movie
what?
that Sash wants to put in. I think I know which one Sash wants to put in.
I
So
don't think you
yeah, this movie
we'll
was
see.
on my honorable
We'll see.
mention, so I know
it's
it's going in there.
yeah. So it'd be I mean, I know it's going to be in your top 10, but we'll see if it's going to be the one that you pick. But yeah, I mean, Indiana Jones again, like Sash, it's just one of those kinds of films because it's definitely in my top 10. But like I've said before on this podcast, Indy never grabbed my imagination as much as some other characters around movies at that time, and so I haven't revisited them as much as everybody else. But you totally appreciate it because it was something different. Probably a movie that I saw more times growing up at that time was Romancing the Stone, which came out that year.
Yep.
Because of the amount of exposure that I got and the amount of time it was on TV and stuff like that. And my family, my dad was even a fan of that kind of stuff because it's like Michael Douglas and stuff. So, and again, because it wasn't a franchise, you didn't have to see anything else. It was one single movie. My family didn't watch loads of movies. So it was one that we watched again. And I think, wasn't it on our not unofficial Christmas list, Neil? Romancing the Stone. We definitely mentioned it, I think, didn't we? Because it was one of those movies that can feel like Christmas because it was always on that time of year.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I'm not sure if it was in the top 10, but it was definitely mentioned. But yeah, it was just so yeah, those kind of adventure movies, you know, we just don't get those anymore, you know, and so
8 years old,
they stick around.
BBC Two, 1980, whenever in Elm Grove, I saw man's hand go into man's chest and rip out heart, bruv. Okay.
It's definitely the darkest out of the three.
I was with my brother who was like, I don't know, he must have been no bigger than like 4 or 5 or 6 at the time. And rather than screaming the head off, we were just like this, like, oh my God, this is the maddest shit like ever.
Yeah.
You had Short Round that represented us children at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, I think that was the thing. You had this heroic character that was a badass, and we could be the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's what Short Round represented.
That was our gateway.
Yeah, that was our gateway. And that was the first indie film. I never watched them in all. I saw Doom first, then Raiders, then Last Crusade, because Last Crusade was the year where like we started renting more movies and stuff.
Which chronologically is the correct way.
The
chemistry between indie and Short Round as well. It was brilliant.
Oh yeah, man. 100%.
Well, I'm very little, you cheat very big.
But you know what was great about Temple of Doom, especially, and most of the films on this list, especially, was the era we grew up in. Okay, not like now where we have infinite choice. One of the biggest things I remember about Temple of Doom, aside from watching it for the first time, was, yo, Simon, you see that film where guy got his heart ripped out of his chest? It was the talk of the school playground because we had 4 channels. There was no channel 5. Okay, we had 4 channels, and guess what? We all watched Temple of Doom on BBC Two. You know what I mean? Like that was probably
and the difference is the movies that time, everything's practical. You know, you watch these films now, and but at the time when watching them, there was a sense of realism because the sets felt real. Everything felt real. It felt like you reach out and touch these things. For everything now, when you watch stuff like Aquaman and all that kind of, it's just pure green screen. You know, it's just so flat.
Have you seen the uncut version of Temple of Doom, like the American cut of it?
Yes.
You have.
Yeah.
Because like, you know what? I've only seen it obviously recently because of Blu-ray and the way things are now. Maybe it's on Disney Plus. but you can YouTube this. When he puts his hand in for the heart and rips it out, you actually see the chest like Wolverine heal up.
Oh,
you guys,
yeah. No, that
like it
okay.
actually like big hole in chest, and then it reforms completely.
Jeez.
without the heart in it.
Without the heart in it.
That's the kind of magic you need
I'll have to
after a breakup.
Yeah, YouTube it, man. YouTube it. It's there.
All right.
That, or it could be an urban myth that I'm replaying in my head on how it should be. But
That's like the octopus thing.
I'm pretty sure that like there's more, because obviously UK we cut shit. So I've seen the UK cut on VHS so many times, but like I remember seeing that recently, and I'm like, what?
See,
I'll have to
I'm
look
gonna
that one
say,
up.
yeah, this is for people who rely on solely on digital media and streaming services, right? Get your hands on a damn Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
4K available on Zavi.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Indiana Jones makes our top 10 list. So now we'll come over to Sacha. What is your second pick?
Shit, man.
I'm pretty sure I know what it's gonna
I'll
be.
let you. I'll let you have a little think. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through Andreas's list and Amrita's list to give him a shout. So Amrita's top 10 list, we had. I'm watching the chest seal up now. It's the clips there on YouTube. So
I didn't imagine it.
Didn't imagine it. Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I thought it was amazing.
So Amrita had Ghostbusters, The Karate Kid, 16 Candles, The Never-Ending Story, The Terminator, A Passage to India, 1984, This Is Spinal Tap, Gremlins, and Police Academy. There's some movies that I haven't seen. 1984 I haven't seen, and I've never actually watched This Is Spinal Tap because I know it's supposed to be this fantastic comedy, but I've never actually watched it. Andreas's list, we had Ghostbusters, The Terminator, Karate Kid, Purple Rain. We know how much of a fan Andreas is. Yep. Of Prince.
I was just
Again, never seen Purple Rain. Never seen Purple Rain.
Yeah,
Gremlins,
never
Police Academy, A Nightmare on Elm Street. He's got Splash in his number 8 spot.
I had that.
Beverly Hills Cop and Breakin'. I'm not familiar with Breakin'.
Breakin'?
It's
Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. And then honorable mentions, we have Footloose, Romancing the Stone, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Conan the Destroyer, Bachelor Party, and Dreamscape. So
I'm going to point something out.
Go for it.
Splash came out in 1983.
Oh wow!
Oh, did it? Is that on the US box office?
I believe it is.
It was on my honourable mentions because I thought it was 84. So I don't know.
I've got it release date March 84 in America. Because just for our listeners, just so you know, so that's according to Box Office Mojo.
I've got. Sorry, I think you guys are right. I'm incorrect. It says 29th of June, 1984.
No.
Okay. So
but when I look it up, when I just type in the word Splash on IMDb, it says 1983.
Yeah, so what you'll find in some of those movies, and this is why when we're doing our top 10 list, so something I did mention at the beginning of the podcast, we go by the US release date. Just to make things a little bit easier, because obviously, especially in the 80s, films came out much further apart in the 80s and 90s in the US and the rest of the world and the UK and stuff like that. So it was, and the data is much more readily available there for the US. But you also got a lot more soft launches, I think, in territory releases in the States back in the 80s and 90s, where they'd put a film out only a few cinemas in certain places, and then it would get bigger and wider, then go international. So Splash is a good shout. That was in my honorable mentions. So, so Sash, what are we going for your second pick?
Okay, I'll make a big sacrifice here. Well, no, it's not that big a sacrifice, but I'll mention it. I'll mention it later. It's got to be Jackie Chan
Yes, I knew it.
Wheels on Meals. All right,
Yes.
you were right. I almost went the other way though, but I actually have 2 copies of this film on DVD.
Good, because I ain't seen it.
Huh?
I said good because I ain't seen it.
Cool. Well, one was for Ken's. One was for Ken because he just fails on picking up stuff. So whoever I see first will get it.
Right.
Do
you do postage?
I got a sense
You do
Neil is
postage?
driving down here this weekend. So yeah, so Wheels on Meals, man. What can I say? This was my gateway to Jackie Chan. Okay. More importantly, this wasn't a solo Jackie Chan thing. See, Jackie Chan before he became, and you know, the guy we know him. Like, sure, he'd done a few martial arts films and stuff, but he did like collaborations with other martial artists. So there was a trio, and the trio was Sammo Hung from martial law, okay, and Yuen Briao, who you know, he's one of the 3, but he's more a director, stunt person than an actual movie star. But like you know what I mean? Like in all of Jackie's films, he's always in them or has a cameo and stuff. So, but before those were the 3. So there were 3 films: Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Star, Project A, and Wheels on Meals. Wheels on Meals is fucking amazing. Jackie Chan and Yuen Biao, they play 2 brothers. And they run a fast food thing. And then all of a sudden, turmoil happens when they fall in love with the same girl who mysteriously is a heiress, who doesn't know that she's a heiress for a large empire and stuff, who's a missing heiress that all these thugs and gangsters are looking for. And you got Sammo Hung, who plays a dopey detective that the boys take the piss out of, who's on the case. Or is he? You know what I mean? Because he's literally like a dopey detective. They take the piss out of him, and they just all happen to fight really, really well. Has a fantastic fight between Jackie and Benny the Jet, who was the like martial artist. Like he was like some big martial arts guy at the time, kind of thing, like in tournaments and stuff in the US. So, and he was like a bear of a man because he was a wrestler as well. I'm not sure at what stage of wrestling he was in because I never really followed the wrestling thing. But when you saw him in kung fu movies, you knew he was like N-level boss because he's just like some big dude, you know. And yeah, man, the fights. This was the first Jackie Chan film I ever saw, so the fights are immense. Okay, even to this day, they piss all over every single Hollywood film Jackie's ever done, which isn't hard. But trust me, Wheels on Meals, check it out. And yeah, that's my film. Cool. Fuck you, Ken, for getting it right, because it could have been the other film, which I'll mention later.
Okay, yeah, we'll go through each of our lists, but yeah,
just would have been something else.
Yeah, I mean, knowing Sacha and what these films mean to him at those eras and stuff like that. I know we've spoken about Jackie Chan and Sacha, you know, previously. I was just like, if you can only pick 2, I don't think he could not put that through. And it's just one of those. But that's what this is about. It's about making, you know, having our listeners and viewers out there picking up on films that they might not know about, you know, to go check out. So check out Wheels on Meals.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I would have sacrificed Indy.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't. That's why I didn't. I thought you might break if I didn't.
Oh man, I was so close to breaking, bro. I was like, when we got to the point, I was like, no one said Temple of Doom. What the fuck?
Question. All right. So, question, Lee. If you didn't pick Indy, and then you caused like Sash to crack in half, what would you have picked?
It was Police Academy.
Ooh. Police
Now,
you know what?
Question: would that have been fighting words if you had to give up day because of Police Academy?
Here's the thing, Police Academy actually is in my top 10.
Yeah.
It's actually in my top 10. It's like my 7th. It's like number 7 because, like, you know, like it's one of the movies I watched like the most. Come on, there was like 7 of them. You know what I mean? Like, there were 7 of those films, and I saw the 7th one in cinema. So you know, Safari Cinema.
Was that the one to go when they go to Russia?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
saw that in the cinema.
I'm trying to think when that came out. I think we all went as a big group. I think maybe for that.
Yeah, I think we might have. Yeah,
I remember
Mission to
going
Moscow
for
or
some-
something.
Yeah,
wasn't
Mission
it?
to
Sure, it was
Yeah.
someone's
Yeah.
birthday.
With
or something,
what's his
and I
face,
remember going
Hellboy,
through-
Ron
Mhm.
Perlman in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
Just
So
just thinking, should we do a top 10 honorable mentions?
we'll go through the honorable mentions. We can go through the honorable mentions for sure. So I'm gonna go for my second pick, and we've just mentioned it. I don't think I could not put this up there because again, the amount of times I watched it, and again, it's a film that I actually watched with my family and stuff like that, which was very rare. And that's Police Academy. You know, it was just yeah, it was. We can debate if anybody wants to go back and we can replace anything, but yeah, it was just lightning in a bottle moment. Do you know what I mean? It just really captured your imagination, and you know, to have all these like misfits come together, and you know, each one finding their place and finding their voice in this group of people, and all their specialities and stuff like that was just brilliant, and it was just so inclusive. You know, as a diverse cast. You know, you had a great sort of like villain in the movie as well. You know, who just doesn't believe in these cadets, and yeah, it's a romp. It's really fun,
Yeah.
and you know, probably one of the comedies is the comedy of that year.
That's a film I'd like to see a modern version of, not a reboot,
Yes.
like a slight continuation. Like you got to get back Steve Gutenberg and you got to get back Jonesy.
Yeah,
got to get
Police
Vince
Academy,
back.
the new recruits. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
get the new
You could-
recruits.
Mhm.
What was it? Joe even mentioned, like, you know what? You should get Will Ferrell in there as Lassad's son.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That'd be awesome.
I'd take that. I'd take that.
I might
Okay.
pull out a creative costume on that. Innit?
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. Well, yeah, we'll do a casting of that. Okay, so we have, I'm just going to add mine in here. So we got Police Academy. So we have in our top 10 A Nightmare on Elm Street, Firestarter, Ghostbusters, and Wheels on Meals. We got The Terminator and Gremlins, The Karate Kid, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Beverly Hills Cop, and Police Academy. Strong list. So look, what I'd like to do now.
There's only two.
Let me go.
There's only two that wasn't on that out of my top 10 that's not on that list.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think mine's pretty close to that. Yeah, I had.
Firestar was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Firestar, Wheels and Meals. They're the only two that weren't on mine, and so yeah. Right, Neil, give me your full top 10. What was your full top 10?
Right. My full top 10 was Terminator, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Ghostbusters, Beverly Hills Cop, The Karate Kid, Gremlins, Romancing the Stone,
That's in mine.
Firestarter, and Indiana Jones. And the last one, of course, problems here. Of course, problems. Supergirl.
That's in my honorable mentions, bro. I'm not gonna
That's
lie.
in
When
my
that came out,
mentions.
I loved it.
I loved it
So
as a kid. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Do you know what's not in this box set?
yeah. Supergirl.
Do you know what's not in this box set?
The disrespect.
But my honorable mentions was where I got a bit wild, though.
Right. So no Conan in your top 10.
Look, I love the first Conan. I think it's arguably one of the best films ever made. That second one was not the first one.
Was not it. Okay. Alex, what was your full top 10?
Right, so I've got The Terminator, Ghostbusters, Temple of Doom, Beverly Hills Cop, Karate Kid, Gremlins, Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, which I loved as a kid. Although I agree with Neil, the second one is nowhere near on par as the first one. But again, I'm an Arnie fan, and Conan was great. So Conan the Destroyer, Never-Ending Story, and then again, something I used to watch over and over as a kid, The Last Starfighter.
The Last Starfighter, yeah. Sacha, what was your full top 10?
Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Beverly Hills Cop, The Terminator, Wheels on Meals, Nausicaa of the Valley and the Winds. Okay, do you know how
that's animation,
difficult?
right?
Yeah, that's Studio
That's
Ghibli.
the first Studio Ghibli film. Check it out. It's fucking amazing. If you've never seen a Studio Ghibli film, check them. They're on Disney Plus and Netflix.
As weird as
you
it is,
saw it, didn't you?
yeah, that's the first Studio Ghibli film I've ever seen.
What did you think?
I was surprised. I was like, hold on, they was pulling this out in 1984. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, this ain't light work, and this is not light work storytelling.
Yeah. Did you ever watch the other ones, like Castle in the Sky? Because that's the next one.
I have them listed out, and I have them listed out in the year of their release, so I don't want to jump the gun on any.
Okay, check out Castle in the Sky. That is, it's got Mark Hamill. Look, the dub has Mark Hamill, James Van Der Beek. I can't remember who else, but yeah, because that's just it. Once what's the most famous Princess Mononoke? When that did good, because Disney did the dub of that. John Lasseter of Pixar Animation, he basically was like, right, we need to get these films under the Disney banner. And then what Disney did, they redubbed all the films with a good all-star cast for each and every one of them. Like Paul Sirocco has Michael Keaton as Paul Sirocco. You have, they just got top talent, man. And so if you've never seen them before, don't worry about subtitles and stuff, because Disney did a damn good job on the dubs. I thoroughly recommend a lot of these films. I've not seen the most recent ones, so I can't really speak of them. I know one came out this year that got nominated for an Oscar, so I can't really speak about those.
Heron, something like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But everything up until Spirited Away and the one with Christian Bale, which I think Howl's Moving Castle, I've seen all of those films, and they are fucking bangers, man. They're fucking great. So check them out on Disney Plus if you want to check out something a little different that's more fantasy, because it's all, because a lot of them are fantasy orientated, so if you like fantasy films, it's like animation but fantasy kind of stuff, so it's all good. So yeah, carrying on. Police Academy, of course. The Karate Kid, because now here's one that you guys probably have never seen. Streets of Fire.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
No, I don't think I have.
Streets of Fire. Hang on. Let me just bring it up, because I don't know who the lead is, because he's like a guy that's not in anything that I've ever seen.
No, he's in stuff you've seen. He's usually playing a cop.
Right, okay. But I've never seen him as a leader for film other than this film.
Yeah, I think this is
okay. So Diane Lane,
Michael
William Dafoe, Rick Moranis.
Yeah, that's right. William Dafoe, Rick Moranis. William Dafoe is the bad guy. Diane Lane, when she was 19, she's looking hella fine in it. And yeah, man, Bill Paxton's in there. Strong cast. So it's an action movie musical. It's an action movie musical. It's a weird combination, but it works. But it really does work. Check it out.
All right, I'm gonna have to check this out. Yeah, that sounds intriguing. So
yeah, it's very, very different. And even though it's got like a 1950s aesthetic, and and I know it's an 80s film, they don't actually give you a date when it's set deliberately, because it's in a time and a place. So give them a little bit of leeway with shit. So yeah, it's a good film, man. Check it out. So Streets of Fire, and then because no one said.
You're leaving out the fact that it inspired Streets of Rage.
Oh yeah, it did inspire it was one of the influences for Streets of Rage. So yeah. And the last pick for number 10, The Last Starfighter, man. Come on, guys. Did anyone have Last Starfighter on their list?
Yeah, Alex did.
Yeah, it's my number 10 as well. My number 10 as well.
Love that film. My honorable mentions were the following: Gremlins, Once Upon a Time in America, Romance in the Stone, 16 Candles, The Muppets Take Manhattan, Cheech and Chong, The Coulson Brothers, The Brother from Another Planet, Revenge of the Nerds, Blood Simple, and Firestarter.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blood Simple. The name rings a bell. I'm sure I've seen it.
It's the Coen Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and Birdie as well. And I got to throw a shout out to other people, to movies other people. There are people that would love these movies. I'm not one of these people, okay? Because I either think they suck or I just like one of them. Okay, we'll start with the one I haven't seen, Top Secret. I hear it's good with Val Kilmer, and it's like
yeah, my
guns.
friend at work raves about that. He says,
yeah,
it's so
I've never
funny.
seen it. I've seen clips, but this was like Val Kilmer's like first film or something.
Mm.
Okay, so here's the three where everyone's going to go, you don't like these films? That's blasphemous. Dune, 1984's Dune. David Lynch's Dune. Fuck that film. Yeah, that's right. All right. You know what, Dune? My introduction to Dune was the video game on the Amiga 500, and it was a point and click, and it was great. And I was like, "What? There's a novel?" And then I read the novel, and then I was like, "What? There's a movie?" And I saw the movie, and it was a big letdown. And it was like, fair enough, I saw it in the 90s, but those effects didn't even, I don't even think they held up in 84, man. Seriously, like, I don't know what the fuck that was with the shield and shit. I was like, this film is nasty, bro. Huh?
It does.
It's got a big following. A lot of people
but I watch it and I'm like, it's badly made, man. And like, there's so much narration, like, you know, to fast forward the story because they're trying to cram so much in. It doesn't take a breather to actually be. That's why I love the fucking remake, man. It was, you know, they were like, we're going to do it properly. We're going to separate it in two. So anyway, that's my bitch rant about that waste film. Now, there are people going to, okay, I don't hate this film. I've never seen it. All right. I've just never seen it. All right.
Okay.
I'm really sorry, guys. I'm never grew up with Star Trek. So Star Trek 3's there.
Star Trek 3.
I have to make a mention. I have to make a mention because Star Trek's part of, you know, the public zeitgeist. I have some very good friends that love Star Trek. I'm pretty sure it's on your list, Alex, right?
I thought about it, but to be fair, I always grew up on Next Generation. I never really watched the original series, and so I wasn't
anyone
really
have
that
such
into
respect
the
on
original
here?
films either.
I had it on honorable mentions.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I don't even think I've seen it all the way through. I've seen clips of it, but I don't think I've ever seen that Search for Spock all the way through. To be fair,
Right.
I've seen it. I mean, I've
grew
seen
up
all
on
of
the
them.
card.
All right. Don't kill us, Trekkers, okay? Like I'm giving it its mention. This is its due right here from a guy that knows fuck all about Trek, okay?
Yeah, honorable mention. That's all you can do.
Yeah. And the last one from my good friend David Richardson, even though I didn't like this film because I just didn't get it, I guess, or maybe I need to give it a chance. Has anyone seen The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension?
I've heard a lot about it, but I've never.
I know the reference from Ready Player One.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I know from. I haven't actually watched
Buckaroo
it.
Banzai.
So apparently that film's a big deal. Apparently, it's got Peter Weller in it.
Yeah,
I've
I've been meaning to watch it because of Ready Player One. I've been meaning to watch
exactly.
it.
It's on my watch list. Yeah.
I'll be honest, fellas. Right? It ain't. it ain't the movie you think it is. Right? Don't let Ready Player One fool you, right? It's not a bad movie. I would never say it's a bad movie, but it's just not the movie you guys think it's going to be.
Okay.
I watched
it. Might be a movie that the writer of Ready Player One liked.
Yes. Yeah. It put it this way. Remember, Firestar is a movie that I like, right? And a lot of people was like on it.
Yeah.
It's right. It's you know.
So what we're trying to say is, my friend Dave is secretly the writer of Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Richardson, if you can hear me, keep fighting the good fight, bro.
Absolutely. Second what Sacha said. Lee, what was your full list?
Full list was Karate Kid, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones, The Terminator, Beverly Hills Cop, Police Academy, Nightmare on Elm Street, Gremlins, Cannonball Run, and then Splash.
Oh, Cannonball Run 2 and Splash. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what's wild? I've never seen Cannonball Run.
I have.
I think I've seen the first one.
I've seen
it was just even more wacky than the first one. It was just just the cars, the comedy, the women. It's just great fun.
I think I confused it with Smokey and the Bandit.
Right. Yeah.
It was the number 10 Splash. I was almost put Supergirl in number 10 because I did watch it a lot
Yeah, same. I watched it a
so-
lot when I was younger. Again, because we didn't
Yeah.
have loads of superhero films to watch.
No, that was it.
So, you know,
I
it
just remember when
referenced.
that cricket ball gets lashed at her back and it explodes, and I was like, "Hey, she's
Yeah,
tough."
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's low budget. It's very centralized, small town and stuff like that. And you have this like, what was it? It's like a potion that made him love drunk or something for the main villain.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, look, it was entertaining for the time, and it had Jimmy from the original movie in it.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
Didn't
right.
it? Jimmy
Mm.
Olsen. Yeah.
Jimmy Olsen,
So
Well, I think that's it. It had references to Superman as well,
Yeah.
wasn't it? So it was kind
Yeah.
of like tied it all in, kind of thing. So
that's it. That's it. Right. So my top 10, I had Ghostbusters, The Terminator, The Karate Kid, Beverly Hills Cop, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Gremlins, Police Academy, Romancing the Stone, and Red Dawn.
Yes,
oh yeah,
that was on my. That was one of the ones on my honorable mentions.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Red Dawn, Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, Jennifer Grey. It's like World War
Leah
III
Thompson.
kind of things. Leah Thompson. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's a very, very strong cast. It's all about World War III. If you don't know what it is, definitely go check it out. Just yeah, great action movie. And I guess it was probably the ages of everybody there. It was just a really strong cast at the time, and that's something that I'd probably like to see remade. I think
It was remade.
Yeah, it did have one.
But
How long
a
ago
couple
was
years
it?
ago with Chris Hemsworth in it.
I was going to say, I thought Hemsworth was in it.
Oh, that's right. But I never
And they
saw
changed
it.
it from the USSR to the USSR.
Well, you say a couple of years ago. It was 2012. That was
Yeah, a
12
couple
years
years
old.
ago. Right? You
how
know,
time flies.
yeah. But I remember because it was
30 years ago is still 1970 to me, mate. So
Really, right? But what I remember was there were so many problems with the movie because originally the villains in the remake are supposed to be China,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
it got in trouble with China because they were like, "What do you mean we're the
We're
villain?"
causing World War III. Yeah.
Right? So then they changed it, and then it was like it was supposed to be North Korea, and then North Korea was like, "What'd you say?" And then it was like an Asian nation, and there's like parts of the film that are
Nondescript.
cut out. There are parts of the film that are cut out because they clearly reference it being China, and they're like, "Yeah, we can't put that clip in." So the film looks a bit of a mess because you can watch it and be like, "Oh, it's all right," but you can clearly tell like, how did you get from here to here with no through line?
Yeah. My honorable mentions, I had Once Upon a Time in America, Conan the Destroyer, Supergirl, Footloose, Splash, The Killing Fields, and Amadeus. Have any of you guys watched it? That was like the best picture winner for that year.
One about Mozart.
Nah, never saw it.
Yeah,
I've only seen it once. Very good film. Yeah, swept up a lot of the Oscars, but yeah. Right. So I don't feel there's any films that we really want to challenge on this list, is there? I think it's a pretty strong list.
Strong list. Can I just say, right? There was one movie, nobody has said it, or two movies. One I know for sure no one said it, and one that I don't remember anyone saying, that were both on my list, or my honorable mentions. Bachelor Party.
That's on my honorable
Don't think
mentions.
I've seen it.
Oh, there you go. And Night of the Comet.
Never seen it.
Not even heard of that.
It's a horror film.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Okay. Is there any other films anybody wants to mention that they haven't done?
No, I think all my honourable mentions have been mentioned by everybody else. So
We've been covered.
we're good.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, so we'll just go back to our top 10 list. In no particular order. We have A Nightmare on Elm Street, Firestarter, The Ghostbusters, or Ghostbusters, I should say, Wheels on Meals, The Terminator, Gremlins, The Karate Kid, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Beverly Hills Cop, and Police Academy. That is a Creative Control top 10 movies of 1984. And yeah, like I say, strong list. And hopefully there's some stuff there that we've talked about today, which you will find and discover and open your mind to the other movies that maybe were before your time, or even if you were born around the same time as us and just weren't familiar with them. And right, guys, is there anything that you want to chat about before we wrap up today?
Nope.
All good.
We all good? Cool. Right. Well, thank you very much for being here today, guys. And thank you very much to our listeners and our watchers. We really appreciate you. Hopefully you stuck throughout the whole show for this. Like I said, make sure you hit that like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can check the video version of this on YouTube or Spotify. And for the audio podcast, you can find it on any major podcast platform. Also, just to let you know, we have broadened our podcast. So we are the entertainment podcast now. And so Neil and I are running a separate show within this for wrestling. We are WWE fans, and we've just done our first episode, booking the Elimination Chamber. So we did this prior to all the announcements about WrestleMania and the Las Vegas show. But what
that did cause us some problems.
It did cause some problems, but I wanted to put it out there so that wasn't influenced. Now what we'll do is once the show has been booked, we'll do another episode of that, and we'll talk about how that has been booked. We'll give our predictions for that, and then we'll do a follow-up to the event to say, you know, what we thought about it, and then we'll start booking our WrestleMania card, because I think things will be a little bit clearer after the Elimination Chamber. But that's it for now, so thank you very much once again, and until next time, peace out.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
This is the way.
This is the way.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
That's what she said.
I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. What is that?
Say my name. I am the father.
Oh, chills. Literal chills.
It was number 5. Number 5 killed my brother.
Oh my God, I forgot about that part.